Hi, fourth graders. Welcome to lesson 2.5. We are going to be estimating your reaction time. In order for us to do this lesson, you would cut out a gravit gauge, is what it's called, on Friday in class, because you're going to need that for this lesson. So I hope you have it with you so you're able to do it. The other great news is Mrs. Heath actually has her airliner working. So I'm going to write my name up here. Look at this. Isn't this great? Okay, so maybe it's not great for you guys, but I am like, whoops, sorry. I went to the wrong page. Okay, well, I am very excited about my airliner working. So I'm going to try to write my name down here. Oh, here we go. Let's try it down here now. H. And hopefully my zeros are a little better now. Look at that. Lots better. Okay, so moving on, I just had to be kind of funny because I'm so excited about my airliner. All right, first thing, mental math problems. Let's do some decimal review. Again, IXL takes a few minutes to load, so just be prepared. But again, we're always reviewing something that we've talked about. Oh, hang on one second. I'm having issues with my internet. Okay. Okay, got my computer working here, my internet. I forgot to load up the internet before I did it. So it says, what is 0.489 rounded to the nearest hundredth? So again, hundredth, you have to look at the places. And if I go over here and I look at that and I see 4 and 8, I know 4 is the tenths, 8 is the hundredths. So I look over here at the 9. And is 9 5 or higher? It is. So my answer should be oops, hang on, I gotta get this right here. So my answer should be, there we go, I'm having all kinds of issues, 0.49. Well, what in the world? I'm having all kinds of problems here. All right, let's see. Mrs. Heath is all proud of her airliner and she's having all kinds of issues. Okay, there we go. All right, let's try this one. What is 8.3 rounded to the nearest whole number? Well, we have a 3. Is that 5 or higher? It's not. So I hope you're thinking to yourself, it should be 8. Awesome. All right, what is 5.8294 rounded to the nearest hundredth? To the nearest hundredth again. So 0.8 is tenths, 0.2 is hundredths. And we have a 9 in the thousandths place, so we know that 9 is 5 or higher. So I am going to type in 5.83, and we'll see if I'm right. All right, well, let's move on because we don't want to spend our whole time on this. So remember, you can always go back here at any time. All right, so I want to review what we're going to be doing. We're going to be estimating a mean reaction time. And what is mean? Mean means average. So I hope you're thinking, what is average? How do I figure it out? So it says, in this lesson, we will be conducting an experiment to estimate how fast you react to stimuli. So stimuli is like if somebody was throwing a ball at you and how quick you would duck out of the way or what you would do. This experiment will help us find an average or mean reaction time. We're going to stand in a circle on Monday. You're going to hold hands. When the timer begins, we're going to go around the circle, squeezing the left hand of the person on your left. When we get back to the original person, we stop and check our time. And we're going to practice a few times with our eyes closed before we complete the experiment. So this activity we will do in class on Monday. Okay, moving right along. It says, estimating a mean reaction time, finding the mean reaction time of each student. How do we find the average reaction time of each student? Well, let's take a look at my notes here. I hope you're thinking. It says, how will we use the calculator display to round our average to the nearest tenth? First of all, in order for us to find an average, we would want to take all of the students' input. So we'd want to be able to use all of the data from each student, and then we would want to divide it by the number of students. So for instance, let's say our mean reaction time was oops, gotta write it on the right one. Let's say our mean reaction was It's not working here. 0.15. Okay. So let's say 0.15 was our average. Okay. So if 0.15 was our average and that's what we divided and we got 29, then we wouldn't necessarily have to round that to the nearest tenth. We could, but if we stay at 0.15, otherwise we have to round it up to 0.2. And I don't think we want to do that. So that is how we're going to figure that out. And we'll spend some time doing that in class. It's kind of hard to do without having everybody's reaction time. So it says estimating individual reaction times. This is in your journal, but we will again talk about this. But I want you to make a prediction in your notebook. It says, which do you think is faster, your left hand or your right hand? Okay. So if you're dominant in one hand, do you think that hand is going to be quicker, or do you think the other hand will be quicker? Right hand predictions. So if I think my right hand prediction, I think I'm going to be 0.16 with my right hand, and I think I'm going to be about 0.15 with my left hand. So I'm actually going to go with my, okay, so I'm sure you heard my little friend Max. He likes to kind of intercept and say a few things while I'm teaching. So I'm actually going to go with my left hand being quicker. Now, I am right-handed, so I'm kind of going out of the box there to try it. All right, so make your prediction, write it down on your paper so that when you come in on Monday, we can look at our predictions. All right, we need to do a little bit of reviewing of some terms because this is estimating our reaction time. It says we need to review some important data collection and vocabulary. So our words are maximum, median, mode, range, and minimum and mean. So the greatest value in a set of data. What is the greatest value in a set of data? I hope you say it is maximum. I hope that, oh, sorry, close. Oops. I have to close that here. All right, sorry, I hit the wrong button here. Okay, so I'm going to say it's the maximum, and I'm going to drag that over, and I'm going to click that in there, maximum. Okay, and then it says the most frequently occurring value in a set of data. When I think of frequently, that happens to be most often, and I think of mode because it comes with MO, or most often, so that's why I know that is the mode. So we're going to slip that over there. Click it in place. Okay, the least value in a set of data. What is the least? I hope you said minimum because that is the least value in a set of numbers. Least, minimum. Okay, the difference between the least and greatest. If I'm finding a difference between it, I'm finding their range. So I would take my highest number and subtract it from my lowest number, and that's how I get the range. The middle value in a set of numbers when they are arranged in order. So if I put them in order from least to greatest, that is always going to be my median. My median is my middle number. If I have 5, it's easy because the middle number is the third number. When I have even numbers, that's when we have to do a little more work. The average value found by adding all the values in a set of data together. Then that would become our mean. Mean is another word for average. And I really hope you know these because you're going to need to know them. So we're going to hit check at the top and see how we did with our definitions. And we got them. So that's great news. So now I'm going to move on. We have one more thing I want to talk to you about before we close up our lesson. Now, here's what we're going to do. We're going to cut out the Gravit gauge on activity sheet 2 of our journal, and we've done that in class already. So we're going to tear it out. It's in the back, and remember I showed you in your journal you have some of those harder papers. That's where you cut it out. It takes 2 people to perform the experiment. The tester holds the Gravit gauge at the top. The other person gets ready to catch it and placing his or her thumb between it. You can't touch it, but you keep your fingers really close and they drop it and you try to catch it. The number grasped by the contestant, or you're a parent or someone, shows that person's reaction time to the nearest hundredth of a second. Okay? So partners take turns being the tester and the contestant, and each person should perform the experiment 10 times with each hand. So you get to do both hands. And here's what it looks like over here. Now I picked 0.15 for my left and 0.16 for my Right, now hopefully I might even be quicker and I could surprise myself. That would be all right. So remember, we will be using the Gravit gauge to measure your reaction to a given stimulus. The stimulus is the Gravit gauge being dropped, and your reaction is how quick you can grab it, okay? Another word for stimulus is your reaction, okay? So your reaction time. All right, awesome job. Remember, you are going to need your Gravit gauge for this lesson. It's pretty important, and you're going to need your journal for this lesson as well. So again, I'm very excited that my airliner is working, and I know I should be erasing my mess here now, so I will do that. But I'm excited about it. And again, our lesson is estimate your reaction time, okay? So good job. Thank you for watching and sitting upright and being ready to go in your lesson. Have a good night.